Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 horror film In a Violent Nature. The film is written and directed by Chris Nash, and it stars Ry Barrett, Andrea Pavlovich, Cameron Love, and Reese Presley. Right, okay. This is a slasher horror film with a bit of a difference, and I suspect you may well have heard of this one. This has been getting a lot of press recently, um, for two reasons, really. And the first main reason is for the gory kills that are taking place in this. And the second reason is it's like a slasher film, but it's kind of told from the killer's perspective for about 85% of the film, anyway. So you literally get to see this killer, and you're following him like in a straight line as he's going for his goal. And his goal basically is some kids have stolen a locket from a collapsed fire tower, and Johnny has been buried underneath this fire tower. And we learn later in the film, as we get the classic campfire story, where some kids are telling the story about Johnny, and how he came to be killed at this fire tower, and then he rose up and took his revenge on those that killed him. Blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all before, if you like. However, these teens steal this locket that was given to Johnny by his father, and is very precious to him, and he then rises up again and seeks out this locket, and anybody that gets in his way comes to a grisly end. Right. What are my thoughts on In a Violent Nature? Well, the slasher genre, is screaming out for a bit of originality, if you like. Something fresh, something new. It needs something breathing into this subgenre to kind of, breathe new life into it, because it's kind of been stuck in a rut for a long, long time now. I mean, and, sometimes you get fresh takes on it, or, glossy takes on it, like the Halloween movies that we got a couple of years ago, and other films along that sort of thing. But they're still very much of the same breed as what you've seen before. Now, as I've said, this film kind of boasts, a fresh perspective on it here. And it is quite a unique perspective, in a sense of you are literally watching this from like the killer's perspective. It's not first person perspective. It's like third person perspective. So as he's walking through the woods slowly, you're walking with him. And as he comes across people that, he decides to take out, he'll deviate ever so slightly to them. So you get to kind of see how these killers kind of operate. And it's definitely an interesting story, in a sense of, the story they tell of Johnny. It's classic, horror stuff, really, campfire story of this character, Johnny. However, it's quite clearly, this film, a love letter to slasher movies. And for me, especially the Friday the 13th franchise. I'm not sure I would have picked on that up as much if I hadn't just started watching the Friday the 13th films to review for this channel. There's 2 up on the channel now. And this film is very, very relatable, in a sense of the Friday the 13th films, and Jason in particular as the killer. It works, very, very similar storylines. And the brutal kills, they are definitely incredibly brutal and incredibly gory. I think gore fans and, brutal kill fans are going to be very happy here, because yes, it does live up to the hype, in a sense of the kills that happen here. They are wince-inducing. They're quite hard to watch, some of them, but they're also really inventive and quite fascinating, some of them. And it does definitely show you the brutality of this killer, Johnny. I mean, he's absolutely relentless, and he won't be stopped. And he's got them kind of, but he's got like the Jason powers of like these supernatural abilities, where he can't be killed, can't be stopped. It's very childlike. But he does kind of betray his own character at one point in the film, because at one point in the film he's like playing with a toy car that's attached to some car keys. It's like a keyring, and they speak earlier in the film about the campfire story of this Johnny, how he was when he was a child. He was lured to this fire tower at the promise of playing with cars because that's what he loved to do, and so you see him kind of childlike playing with this car. So he comes across as quite childlike, or even having disabilities, sort of thing, or whatever. And then there's another scene where he's got the intelligence to set off a car alarm to lure people out to it, and that just didn't feel in league with who the character was that they presented to us like 10 or 15 minutes earlier, with him playing with the car, being very childlike. But beyond the concept here of the brutal kills and then doing it from the killer's perspective, everything else here feels very typical of what you would see in a film like this. There's nothing else particularly original, and it's got an ending that I'm not really sure how to describe the ending. It didn't feel like an ending to me, I suppose. I'm sure, the director who wrote the film could give us a very nice reason as to why he finished the film the way he did, but for me, it didn't feel finished. And I know why. I suspect we're probably going to get more of these films. And I'd be interested to see where they go next, I suppose, with this character and this concept. I do think there's legs here. I do think this film, like I say, it does have a little bit of originality, and certainly fans of the Friday the 13th films are going to definitely feel a connection to this film. I hope, and maybe some will feel like it's maybe trying to rip off the Friday the 13th films. I don't know. I never really felt like it was trying to be disrespectful to those films. It definitely felt more like a love letter to me. So yeah, check it out if you're a fan of slasher films, Friday the 13th films, Halloween films, all that kind of stuff. I suspect you're going to find things here that you're going to enjoy. It's definitely worth checking out, this one. It's got some unique elements to it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.